in a second. Alright. Hi guys, and hello from nowhere. I am Nada. I am also eating Jello. Because Jello is good. I don't have many bites left. But my dad made Jello. And we had to have some. And naturally it wasn't ready until I was ready to start streaming, so I'm gonna finish my Jello real quick. I got like 2 bites left. Okay. So this is part 2 of my kitty cat here. Day 30. He's my 2. Alright. And I need to get my reference photo. Rah. Actually, I need that one because it goes here. And then we're going to transition to another over there. Do, 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 do. I am being watched by a tiny dog. Did you just burp? At least you ate your supper. She has this horrible habit of not eating her supper. Go on! Go! She wants somebody to play with, and since Dad's eating Jell-O, he's not playing. And she's upset. The problem with the tabby cat is that they're full of lots of stripes. And I do mean a lot of stripes. So it kind of gets all muddled in here. Especially up here. And then she's got a great big brown blacky streak that goes like that. This is also partially in shadow, so it's not a bad thing that it's all brown. I will come in here with some extra definition. Like back here is more of a gray because again it's in shadow. Get some of that transition. And I will come back in here with some definition later. There's some dark over here. These can kind of be a little bit willy-nilly because she's got lots of little stripes. And then we're going to take that next darker color. We'll go back to this, drop it up just a little. And I do want to keep my brush kind of small just because it gets between these lines. So you can still kind of see the definition. I know I'm very one color here, don't panic. That one might be a little too light. I should have done this as a secondary layer, whatever. Ah, what are you doing? No laggy lag. And yes, I do want that division line right there. I'm gonna know a bit. So yes, it is a gift and a curse that it is kind of like, you know, lots of little tiny stripes. But you know what? The best part is that you don't have to be perfect at all. They can be squiggly and blob-like. And you know how I love blobs. I really should have done this as a secondary layer. Whatever. Just listen. Though I will recommend, don't go against the grain. Try to keep it all in the same hair direction. See how these would all follow along with her hair direction? That's what I mean. It's like keep the hair going in the same, the brush strokes going in the same or similar direction as the hair. And then I'm going to up it just a little bit just to kind of get some fatter lines in here. This is rough coat. Nobody panic. I know, she looks like a great big brown blob right now. Nobody panic. We are bringing in some of that light. See the light? Lighter shades. And then just for an extra, okay. Because then we're gonna go in here with some of that. Layer up. Not quite fat enough. What do I do? I want a fatter brush. Well, Merit, you can find me if you so choose. So the username for me on Discord is nowhere nada, except that the nowhere is spelled correctly. Meanwhile, I accidentally spelled it wrong on Discord and they won't let me change it for like 2 months. So, but yeah, you can find me on Discord if you so choose. I don't honestly get on Discord all that often. Mostly because I'm a hermit and I can't figure out technology sometimes. But I am on there. I promise. I promise I'm on there. So I do want to get in here. Okay, and then we're gonna go over here to the gray, drop the pen size down a little bit. Is that a little too far? Maybe. But we're gonna get up here, get some. And then we're gonna actually go to the dark here. Get some of that texture in there. Da, 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 da. Do 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 do. Ba 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 ba. All right, so there's that one. Yeah, I know there's kind of a distinction between the two, but again, the back side of her is technically in shadow because of the light over here on the face. So as I do the rest of her arms, it will hopefully blend and kind of reflect that more. And there's probably an advertisement on my music. Is there an advertisement on my music? I don't know. It's talking about things that I don't really want it to talk about. And of course we have another advertisement on my music. I gotta love my advertisement on my music. Shall we discuss the advertisement on my music? Because it is a stupid advertisement on my music. Alrighty, now we are done. Okay. Alright, so we're back on the fat layer. Because this is all on the detail layer. Then we're going to go in here on the... Okay, drop it here. So I need this primary color here. So again, if you're going to be using a crayon brush, I would honestly recommend this, which is a little bit of a kind of backwards. Okay, so start with a lighter layer, then build up with the darker layers. Once you've got a main base, so like right here, I'm working on the main base, right? And they're going to start blending into each other because it's layer on layer of crayon. Now, as I get this filled in, I will then go back in with the lighter color to get that more fluid tone. So like here is more of a fluid tone. Then you go into a layer on top with the other, you're trying to get the definitions. So your colors that are defined, like the hairs in her ears, you go in with a layer above that, so it's a clean layer. And then that's how you get that detail in there. But see how it's kind of melding into that dark? That's what I'm trying to do. So we're gonna keep on with this real quick. Lots and lots of little strokes, because again, she's furry. So I'm going in with a lot of little strokes right now to just kind of get that filled in. Again, going with the hair, the movement. So like this is her shoulder, that is her back. And then I will probably go in with just a hint of the dark here on this main layer to get that definition. So then I can go back in on the secondary layer for more detail. But this adds that shape. Add just a little bit more on her tummy line, just a little bit. And then she does have some deep shadows here where it bumps up against what she's laying on. So I am going to add that dark for the under layer. But since I have the light color here first, even though I am adding a darker color, it's blurring into itself. So like over here, she doesn't have a lot of dark. It fills in the spots, adds some definition to a couple of places. But like technically this needs to be bigger, so I'm not going to do too much. And then this paw down here is primarily in shadow, so I'm not too worried about it. I probably should have done this as a secondary layer too, but whatever. This is all shadow. Primarily shadow down here. Transition. And be very glad that you can't smell anything because my dog just farted. And he has death by farts. You know, the silent but deadliest that dogs are most renowned for. Let's go in with the lighter color here, because I do want that here. Just along that line. And then I want to actually fill that in. But did you notice how if I tried here and then brought up, even with the lighter crayon, it smudged the dark? But if I'm staying in the light piece here, as I move the color around, I'm bringing the light into the dark shade instead of the dark into the light shade. And then I can even go in, I'm still in that light color here, but then I can start to blend some of that lighter in. She's not going to have a lot of light on the paws because her paws are kind of tucked down, but I can probably change that a little bit and actually do more of a lighter paw if I so chose. So actually what I need is I need this darker color because, especially the gray, her shoulder is actually quite gray. But just round and 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 round. Round and 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 round. And then she's got some gray underneath her chin. And then right here. Okay, now we're going to go up to the next layer. I want the darker brown. Narrow the brush because I'm going to focus on some of the stripes. She's got these 2 stripes here. Oh, I need to broaden the brush. 20 is about where I want to get that hair texture. She's got some dark here, dark here. But she does also have some of these black spots down here. And they bunch all together along that shoulder line and the neckline. Because you see, that's what's happening down here along the belly line and amongst the shoulder here. Because she's got some stripies. In fact, she's got one full stripe right here, all the way across her leg. And then she's got a little one there, and then the curve in one there. A couple of little ones here. Little one there. And then they flow with her hair. And she's got a couple down here. But again, this foot is down in the deep shadow, so you really are not going to see it as much. In fact, I'm going to swap over to this back layer here so I can get some of that dark in here. Oh, bring it down now. Since I have the narrower brush on now, I can actually get a little creative and do lots of little tiny strokes here give that illusion of fur in the stripe. Same thing with this. And the thing is that the hair actually pokes out. So then we're gonna transition to the bright, coarsen up the brush. We're staying on the digital layer here. Fatter brush. Bring that edge so when you turn that layer off, see, like that? And better yet, like that. It gives that illusion of fur. And then I just want a little bit in a couple of spots here. I kind of want that golden brown over here. Fatter brush. Slip in here with just a gray and a couple of spots. Just enough to get a little bit more detail without being overly complimentary. A little bit. Nope, no. Okay, that needs the bright color. Okay. Now, fun fact, she does actually have a collar, which I did not include. So I'm actually going to put a layer on top, drop my detail down, and then we're going to narrow the brush, because it's not a very big color, but it's kind of right about here. Actually, so it's right about there. And then it just kind of blends into her fur right there. Narrow that brush. I want a nice, good detail. Nice, good detail. At least on the bottom edge where it kind of okay. And then she also has a bell, which the bell actually right about here, right about there. Da, 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 da. I need to zoom this in. Go. Go. I know, you just want to play, but I'm working. I'm going to swap over to the pin just a little bit. This is blatantly in shadow. I'm talking like blatantly. Oops. That did not quite work. I'm getting super into this detail here. Goldy yellow, not quite that one. Okay, start there. Just a hint of a gold on this bell. And then we're gonna go in here with white, get that reflection on there. It's right there. Right there. It's bugging me. gonna swap over to the crayon again. And we're gonna, oop. This is how you cheat. Okay. I do think she needs to be blurred just a little bit, or better yet, what I'm gonna do, this is just a touch-up moment here. I'm gonna grab some of that gray. I'm gonna go back up to the face. Back up to the face. Fatten up the brush. She does. She needs just a little bit more of that gray, because she is technically a gray tabby, not necessarily a brown. So she got lots of oops, wrong layer, wrong layer. Oops. What happened? Zoom out my photo. I need to double check her paws. Double check her paws. Okay. So there is our cat. Save for a last couple of tidbits, which is I need a super thin brush. Actually, a pen brush actually works better. Then we're going to go up here. Zoom into the face just so we get a little bit more definition here. Actually going to add it on the secondary layer. And she's also got some up here. Whee! And a couple over here. And a couple over there. And then last but not least, we're going to go over here to the base layer. Now, in my actual photo, what she's sitting on is me. And I really don't want to draw me. So, what do I want to do? I do just kind of want to give her a place to lay without necessarily being a place to lay. So let me see if I can find another reference photo of a pillow that I know she likes. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna actually fountain out this. Oops, wrong one. Wrong brush, wrong brush. Crayon brush, fountain brush. We're gonna do a nice blue because she likes her blue pillow. That way we can give it some color without necessarily going overboard. This is the only problem with crayon brushes, is that they are super thin here. Okay. Now, technically I could have selected her so we were only in the dark, but I don't run that way, so in fact what I can do and then go back in here. So that way technically I won't get into that space, but you see that line there? That's where it's like, do I really want to do that? Layer up. I am going to deselect because you see what's happening over here. Base layer, oops, add a layer. No, 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 no. No. No, no. Nobody panic. Okay. And then up here, what color should I do? What color should I do? Let's go to the bottom of the barrel. There we go. Not overly complicated, but there you go. So I'm actually going to call this just about finished. And I am going to add my stick and a tour. Well, that doesn't help at all now, does it? Nope, I need that lighter than that. All right, I'm gonna say she's done. So in case anybody cares, this is actually a picture of my cat. Her name is Esma, because Esma cat. Yes, she's also a reference to Emperor's New Groove, but whatever. But yes, this is my cat. So I'm going to call that done, and I will see y'all another day. Bye!